Cartel, Brutality, police corruption.
In maximum security, and the riot popped off right 2 weeks when I was in there. There was 14 people killed. The main boss was decapitated, and they were playing basketball with his head.
Crazy. What? 30 minutes? What a popcorn.
I was born in the state of Guerrero in Mexico. I was taken to the U.S. at a year and a half. I was raised in Southern California, in L.A., Compton. A normal, you could say, American childhood, around gangs and all that good stuff that corrupts a kid. Living in South Central, Compton, Firestone.
Yeah, it's a lot of Mexicans in New York. There's a lot of them. A lot of them in Yonkers, for real. Yonkers got the Mexican gangs, Vato Locos. Shout out to my Vato Loco niggas. My bro. My nigga Spider and them niggas. Yeah, it's a lot of them motherfuckers around here, man. Shout out to all my Mexican niggas, man. I ain't gonna lie, I fuck with my Vato niggas.
Region, it's very hectic, you know. Growing up, you have to be careful where you're walking, what colors you're wearing, because obviously there's a lot of mugging going on, theft, Grand Theft Auto, gangbanging, shootouts. So it's you're under a lot of stress the majority of the time.
How did it kind of happen that you got involved in crime?
Growing up in a broken family, the circumstances of why my father went to prison that pushed me towards gangs, towards.
Not to even cut y'all off. Not to cut this shit off. This is my Vato Loco niggas right here. It's my brother. This is my brother, look. I'll comment on this shit right now. He going right back in 5 minutes, nigga. Less than 5 minutes. That's my Vatos, nigga. That's my brother right there. That's my nigga right there.
So,
tell you.
Committing crime.
Locked in, nigga.
I was, in a way, looking of why my father went to prison. That pushed me towards gangs, towards committing crimes. I was, in a way, looking for a way out. So my father, basically, he raped my sister when we were young. The stress of seeing that obligated me to try to kill him. Stabbed my dad a couple times. Obviously, I was barely 12. So I think that's the main reasons why I was trying to just get out of my own world because of the destruction that my own father had done. My father ended up doing 16 years in Avenal State Prison, left us when we were really young. My mom being Mexican and not being able to speak the language, because it's not easy living in a country where you don't even know the language, and not having any help from any family members. So that was what pushed me into crime, into gangbanging, into hustling for money.
What kind of crime was it first, and how did it progress?
First, it was home invasions, you know, theft,
robberies and shit.
petty theft. Then it moved on to moving certain amounts of drugs to different counties, depending on where the person that was in charge of the game wanted you to move them. Anything to gun crime.
How old were you at that point?
Around 14, 15. When you're in gangs, you know the heat that you're gonna get yourself involved. It's a lot of racial fighting going in because at the same time it's Mexicans against Mexicans or other Hispanic gangs. They kill one of yours, you go looking for one of them. That's how I ended up as a gunslinger or hitman, well, however you guys want to call it, a sicario. That's how I got involved in gun crimes. At that age, I was still young and stupid. Um, that's when I decided that, you know what, maybe I should try some luck in Mexico. Maybe try to get away from gangs, get away from the violence without really understanding what violence was. I myself took the decision of going back to Mexico, trying to find something better for me in itself. Uh, at the age of 17 was when I decided to go back to Mexico. Obviously, it's not the same thing because of culture differences. I was raised with Chicanos, Mexican Americans that spoke English, that spoke Spanish. Going back to Mexico, where there's only Spanish-speaking people, the culture is different. It's a little bit harder to involve yourself in society. So you're always looking out for people that look like you, that speak like you, and that act like you. That's how I ended up in Mexico.
So what was it like in Mexico?
It's a whole different world, and the violence that the human being is able to do is really unthinkable. Basically, they were doing worse things that we could never imagine in a first world country, and it's more because of poverty, of not trying to become something of themselves, making a name for themselves.
Niggas cutting each other heads off over there, nigga. Them niggas doing the unthinkable. Yeah, they wilding over there.
Cartel de Sinaloa is one of the biggest ones in Mexico. Went to Sonora and I worked for the Sinaloa as well as a hitman. I worked in Morelos as well for another organization called La Familia Michoacana.
La Familia.
And what does a hitman at a Mexican cartel do?
You take care of the dirty work, Obviously, they're always fighting routes towards the U.S. They're always fighting for how can you say this? For the permission of extortioning and stealing from the rich in whatever state they're in, and fighting the enemies. That means going into cities and locating these rival hitmen, these rival people or rival drug lords, and taking them out. You have to understand that the cartels is two branches: the ones that traffic the drugs, and the military side of the cartel as well. Mm-hmm. We went to a location once for the Familia Michoacana. They had 5 tons of cocaine. They also had a
5 tons.
What do you call it? How do you say it? Laboratory of methamphetamine. I've never been towards that side of moving drugs or anything like that, because obviously you're talking about high quantities of drugs. I was more addicted to adrenaline of what I could do with the rifle, what I could do with the pistol. So when you're working as a sicario, obviously there's rules that you cannot pass if you want to keep yourself alive, because it's a very dangerous game. And that was something that was taught to me since the beginning. Never get high with anything that they move, in order for you to keep yourself on guard and on point on what you're doing. Mm-hmm. There's cartels that actually they pay their people with drugs, especially cartels that use methamphetamine. Obviously, there's people out there that will get themselves in debt with the cartel or with a drug dealer. They have no way to pay their debt, and they get pulled in by force, and they maintain them with crystal meth, with cocaine. Obviously, the people that would do drugs, you would see them lasting 3 months, 2 months. They would end up getting murdered. So for us as sicarios, it would be something easy to spot the enemy sometimes because of their drug use, because of the way that they would act under stress or under pressure from the cartels or from the government. I think it's just more like they're using them as, how you say it? Cattle for the slaughter. if you're a professional, you know that what you do is you just put two in the chest and one in the head. That's it. It's better to have them dead than to have them to have evidence where the government will be able to incriminate you.
Do you feel like in Mexico, if you want to kind of earn money, you have little choice but to get involved with the cartel?
You can say in a way it is, because obviously a lot of the people that I met in the cartels didn't even finish their primary school, because they didn't have the resources to look for a better education. In a part it is, in a part it's not. It's more about the influence that society gives them, the type of music that they hear, what they see on TV. That's what they feel inspired to be like that, and when in reality they have no idea what that life is all about.
Were you ever scared for your life?
Every day. That's how you live. Anybody that says that they're not scared of that type of life is probably lying, I think being scared is very important in order for you to keep yourself alive. Every time that I would get close to somebody, that person would get murdered, and it was just a circle that was not ending. So when talking to people that are in this environment, and when talking to people that think that they're gangsters or they're about that life, you can tell right away if they're lying or not, just by asking them what kind of weapon they use. So you can tell when someone is an expert, and you can tell when someone is just bluffing on what they're saying. We have a saying, los huevos te llevan a la destrucción. Your balls as a man will get you killed right away. So you have to use the intelligence, and you have to use your balls, because obviously that's what it is, You can't just be running around there thinking you're the biggest and the baddest, because there's always going to be someone bigger or badder than you.
Is police connected to cartels?
Yeah, definitely. Local police are 100%. State police, you could say 50-50. It's basically the same law that Pablo Escobar told the government. It's plata o plomo, It's money or lead, whichever one you want. There's certain cartels that don't really give them the option of giving them money. They rather give them lead and go to war, because obviously it's more like a guerrilla type war, and whatever they can acquire from those state government, that means rifles, that means life jackets, that means whatever they can take off their dead bodies, they'll take. Then rather than give them any money to bribe them.
Wow, that's crazy.
What was the most violent thing you've seen?
I've seen a lot of violent things, and I would have to say this time it was a time where they picked up like around 12, 15 people. Not all of them were enemies, Sometimes you're in the wrong moment at the wrong time, and for hanging around with the wrong crowd, you get involved, and there was women and men. I didn't take part. Our group had just arrived in the ranch where this was taking place. Another group was obviously gonna execute them, but they were obviously recording everything to send a message to the rivals. And they went at it with axes and chainsaws.
Oh my God, bro, that's crazy. That's crazy. That cartel shit crazy, my nigga. I ain't gonna lie. Hanging out at the wrong place, the wrong time. I got your ass snatched up, chopped up with axes. It's crazy, my nigga.
And they went at it with axes and chainsaws. And they dismembered everybody.
Why would they do that? What's the...
So basically they want to put out a message, Maybe this person took money away from the cartel, or they got involved in businesses where they didn't come through, in order to make sure that other associates don't follow the same route. They put them as an example. Once the society or the people where these people are operating, they see several heads appear in the morning with a big old message or several pieces of bodies scattered around the city, then it's easy for you to go and ask for extortion from anybody. And they with the fear that might happen to them or to their family members, they will pay.
I mean, I'll have to ask you, what was the most violent thing you've done yourself?
There's a lot of things, but one in particular was I was taking 2 recruits to do a task that was given to us. These recruits obviously were new, they didn't know what they were doing. They got nervous, they came back into the car and they told me that the people that were there were armed. We pull up near this person, and this person is obviously a rival. The person in the back seat, I was driving, the person in the back seat pulled out a rifle and shot him. He missed the shot, but injured him on the leg. At this moment, the rifle jammed. The recruit was panicking. I jumped out of the car, took the rifle, busted the bullet out and cocked it back in, and I shot him again. This person was still agonizing, trying to drag himself through the pavement. The rifle jammed again, so I basically went up to him and smashed him with the butt of the rifle until his head exploded, and that was it. Jumped back in the car and left. Obviously, there's more things that I've done I'm not willing to discuss at the moment.
How many people do you think you've killed overall?
I've been in the game for a long time. More than 70 probably.
What? Yo. Nigga said he killed over 70 people, nigga. Why he talking about, like, what the fuck?
When we talk about all those...
For a long time. More than 70 probably.
When we talk about all those people killed and tortured, have you ever thought back about them, thought about their families? What were the emotions you were going through?
You have to understand that you can't take anything personal. It's only a job. No, it's only business.
Crazy.
And the moment that you do take it personal, everything goes south. There's definitely there's honor in it.
Yeah, you know his ass probably can't go back to Mexico making lab Bibles like this. Cartel will get on that ass. Yeah, you talking too much, man. Cartel go snatch his ass up. He go back to Mexico. Fuck him, play with me. Yeah, they playing, they let him on them niggas see his little YouTube shit, nigga. They gonna snatch this nigga ass right up in Mexico, nigga. It's over. He gotta stay his ass in the UK.
Everything goes south.
Where he at? He in the UK right now?
There's honor in it. I think that's the only way that you survive, you know.
He better stay his ass where he at.
Karma doesn't hit you in your back. Is by having honor, obviously. Honor in the way that how you handle yourself, you know. Obviously, there is sometimes that I think about a lot of things every day. You know. In my case, had no family. Try to avoid being even close to anybody that you had any feelings towards, because it could have they could use that as leverage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it sounds harrowing, but it also sounds like quite a lonely existence, I guess.
It is. It is.
So I know you went to prison. Can you explain how and why you got there?
Yeah, they had killed someone real close to me, and I went out of my way to look for these people and get that situation taken care of. While I was in the area where I had taken care of these people, I was caught up by state and federal government, and I was arrested, taken, tortured, and then later on informed that I was being accused of murder in first degree.
Torture.
That's how I ended up in prison.
And what was the sentence?
They wanted to give me 30 years of prison for murder. I only did 3 years. Prison is
You only do 3.
a whole different ballgame to what prisoners in
How you only get 3? I'll go from 30 to 3. 30 to 3 is crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. 30. Nah.
is a whole different ballgame to
Nah.
prison is. I only did 3. They wanted to give me 30 years of prison for murder. I only did 3 years.
3?
Prison is a whole different.
That nigga told on the cartel. I solved this shit. He told on the cartel. That nigga told on the cartel, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. He better let us know he told at the end of this shit. Yeah, he told on the cartel. So's done figured this shit out. They gonna kill him. I feel bad for him, man. I might. Shit.
Prison
They gonna get him. He told.
is a whole different ballgame to what prisoners in the U.S. might feel that prison is about. I've known a lot of inmates in Mexico that have been felons in the U.S. and that have spent time in federal prisons, and they tell me over there it's a 5-star hotel compared to where we're at now. If you have no family, you have no clothes, they don't give you squat. Basically, your family has to come in and drop you off clothes that they obviously ask of a certain color. They have to drop you off toilet paper. They have to drop you off soap, shampoo, whatever you need to keep yourself clean inside of prison. Your family has to give to you. Other than that, the prison system basically makes sure that you have 3 meals a day and water. That's all they take care of. The cells can go anything from 11 inmates to, I've seen 16 in one cell that is meant for 4 people. So you're speaking about having people sleeping on top of the toilet, underneath the bench that you have to have your food, in the middle of the what do you call it, that little space that you have in the middle of the 2 concrete beds and 2 underneath the concrete beds. A lot of people think that correctional officers are the ones that are in charge inside. They are not. The ones that are in charge are the inmates and the cartel that runs the prison system. Because for every prison that there is a cartel behind it. The guards are, sometimes, they have no option, you know? It's like, they're there between the sword and the wall. If they don't cooperate with what the cartel wants, then they know that they're going to be dealt with outside.
That's crazy.
So they try to just keep it chill, you know, in the way that they know who not to mess with and who they can obviously put their hands on. They're pretty down to earth, you know, because obviously they see other co-workers get killed for trying to oppose the cartel. What they're doing is they're basically trying to survive and trying to get the best of it, because obviously there's a lot of bribery going on, and there's a lot of prostitution inside of prison as well with the inmates, like with the female inmates, because obviously there's prisons where there's female and male. They're in different sections, but the prison guards, their money is prostituting the female inmates that are inside.
Crazy.
And I ended up in prison.
That's fire though, but it's not fire
because of the nature of my case and for the cartel that I was working for. I was privileged to be moved to a certain area where I was entitled to several stuff, and obviously I was given a job. that was interrogating anybody that was coming in for drugs, for homicide, for kidnapping, and we would go in with the permission of the security of the correctional officers, pull out smartphones, start taking pictures, start interrogating inside of the prison. When I arrived in prison, obviously,
Right. You heard Smoke? They shit sounded like the 5-star hotel. Nigga got niggas in there getting pussy. You got niggas in there, so they pimping the bitches with the inmates. Like that's, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the females probably enjoying it too. They want some dick, they locked up. Niggas want some pussy, they locked up. Send them CO the bread, and they gonna make that shit happen. That's lit. I ain't gonna lie. That's lit. I ain't gonna lie. That shit sound alright to me. Imagine being in prison for you got 30, nigga, and you can buy some. You crazy? Nigga gonna be cashing out. Nigga gonna be calling everybody in his family for some money, nigga. Yo, I ain't got no food. Niggas gonna be lying like a motherfucker to their family. Nigga gonna be getting that money. Imagine having 30 years and you could get some and you could pay for some. You just gotta send a CO a band or some shit. Niggas getting that band, nigga. You know they gonna be taxing. You know they gonna be taxing. You gonna have to get that band. They gonna be calling everybody.
they promise you the stars that they're gonna get you out, that they're gonna help you, that they're gonna continue supporting you. Obviously, those are all lies. What they want is basically they want you to put whoever you have out there that is loyal to you as a person because they know
still won't be them niggas.
Keep them working for their organization. So obviously, when I saw that my case was not progressing and that I had no benefits in having a lawyer from the cartels, because at the end of the day, sometimes those lawyers are working for someone else, you know. So they're not there trying to get you out. They're there to make sure that you stay in. So I basically washed my hands and said, you know what, I'm done with you guys. I with the rivals, I ain't with you. I just want to be left alone because obviously my time here is going to be long. They didn't accept that, and obviously there was repercussions. Was being to the degree where I have a broken rib, a busted eardrum.
They whipped that ass.
When I got better, I spoke to a lot of people that were in the prison with me, that were Chicanos, and they weren't just part of the cartel. They were just Chicanos, you know. And we made a riot. We popped the prison like it's commonly known. We murdered two of their leaders, and made a big party. We got transferred to a state prison, a maximum security state prison, and I spent another year and a half in that prison. I think those were the most violent ones. The prison where I had come from was a prison of approximately 500 to 600 inmates, and I was taken to a prison where there was 13,000 inmates. I think it's one of my experiences that I will never forget.
This nigga's cat.
Just the amount of things that I saw inside. Ended up getting in.
This nigga ain't telling the truth, man.
Maximum security.
He's not being honest.
And the riot.
That's bullshit. That sound like bullshit to me. Yeah, I know bullshit when I hear it. This shit sound like some bullshit. Nigga called another body in there, did another year and a half. Get the fuck out of there.
Ended up getting in maximum security. And the riot popped off right 2 weeks when I was in there. There was 14 people killed. The main boss was decapitated. And they were playing basketball with his head. The anti-riot correctional officers came, and they knocked on the door, on the maximum security door, to try to get in, and they weren't allowed in. They put all the dead bodies in the main entrance, and they told them that there was no problems inside maximum security, that all they wanted was them to take their trash. for a moment, I started laughing to myself. I was like, yeah, they're not gonna listen to us. They did. They went back. The people that lift up the dead bodies and the criminal investigations came in, took their pictures and took the bodies. All that built up of violence and memories and people that you loved gone starts getting to you, starts eating up what you have left of a human inside of you. You have everything, you know, you have money, you have drugs, you have women, but you don't have peace, you know. You start thinking about what's there to come after you die, because you see people go left and right, and there was occasions where obviously you're in gunfights that last up to 2 hours, hour and a half, and you don't really know if you're gonna come out of those gunfights. So I started questioning everything, you know. Started questioning who I was and why I was there, and if what I was doing had any honor, you know, if it was worth dying for. I wasn't about to go back to prison. So mentally I was preparing myself to obviously get murdered, you know, end my life in combat. But like I said, I started questioning everything because of the level of stupidity of other lieutenants and knowing how the game works, you know. You're just a pawn for the real people that are making money. They're not gonna worry for you. They're not loyal to you. You're just something that can be replaced by something else. I think that's when I realized that, you know what?
He's a traitor.
I speak 2 languages. I speak English. I speak Spanish. I'm not someone that is stupid. I've been able to survive this long. Like there should be a purpose of why I'm still alive. Because in reality, I was looking for a way out, you know. I still had bottled up the emotions of living in a scarred family, and especially the trauma that you go when you see your own father do something like that.
I ain't jacking this nigga.
Like it was around January.
I ain't jacking this nigga.
It was cold. We were up in the mountains, and in my head I was.
We
were going into some conflict with another lieutenant that basically wanted to take what I had.
This nigga's a traitor.
He was trying to get me killed at the same time. And it was...
I ain't fucking with him.
Killing the lieutenant and getting into more problems with the cartel. And running to another cartel for trying to get help, obviously. Or it was leaving everything the way it was, you know. Just leaving everything behind. Just got my person out of there. And that's what at the end of the day I did. Just left my rifle, took my vest off, left the drugs that we had in the car, left the money that I had in the car, stole one of their pickups and just drove until the gas ran out.
Nigga ran away.
What about your family? You talked about your mom and your siblings. Are you still in contact with them?
Yeah, I'm in contact with them. I haven't seen my mom since 17 years. That's the last time I saw her, 17 years ago. So it's been a long ride by myself. I am in contact with them, you know. There was a point where they didn't really, we had no communication. When I got in contact with them, it was like, now you remember you have a son, you know. Now you remember you have a brother. Like, you guys shouldn't be crying. Like, we all take our decisions, and we have to live with our consequences. So, if anything happens to me, then don't worry about it. Let the dogs eat me, because that's the life I chose. That's what I would say.
What about your dad?
Nah. Probably put a bullet in his head.
If
I couldn't when I was younger, when I'm older, then definitely, you know.
What is the future for you? What are you looking forward to?
Nowadays, I'm a boxing instructor because I've always been into combat sports. We have a group of kids in Mexico that we help out, obviously, trying to give them the best advice to avoid what one has been through, you know?
Like, comment, subscribe, man. Squeeze.